Good afternoon. This will be our third web-based meeting. It's part of the START Parent Leadership Development Training Initiative. Our partners in this project have been the New Jersey Department of Children and Families, Division of Family and Community Partnerships, Race to the Top Early Learning Challenge grant. We'd like to thank them for their support and announce that we've been funded for another year. Yay! We are now in the process of planning our program for the upcoming year, and we're looking forward to more opportunities to work with CCYCs to bring more families to the decision-making table. I'd like to thank all of the START team who worked to put this meeting together today. I'm Debbie Esposito, and my co-host is Tatiana DeGrossa. Our presenters today are Karen Antone from the START Project and Della Walker from the Essex County Council. Tatiana and I would like to thank both of them for their contributions to this meeting. So let's get started. Our goals for today are to introduce a few tech tools that will facilitate shared leadership and shared decision-making in our county councils for young children. We'll then discuss a few opportunities for shared resources both within the councils and with members and families, and also among the different councils throughout the state. Finally, we will review some upcoming training opportunities. But first, Tatiana, let's find out who's here today.
Okay, Debbie, thank you. Our first polling question is, let's find out who's here. I'm attending as A. The options are, please select 1, parent member of my county council for young children, parent or caregiver, not a CCYC member, CCYC coordinator, staff of a lead agency, or stakeholder community partner. Please select the appropriate response and click Submit. We are now closing the poll, and let me share the results with everyone. It looks like we have an even split. 30% of you on today's web-based meeting are CCYC coordinators, 30% stakeholder community partners, and we have some representation from parent members of the CCYC as well as parent and caregivers, not the members. Okay, our next poll question. Okay, we would like to know how many people are viewing with you today. And the options are, please select 1, none, I'm viewing alone, I'm viewing with 1 more person, 2 more people, 3 more people, 4 or more people. Please select the appropriate response and click Submit. Okay, I am now closing the poll, and let me share the results. The majority of 70% of attendees today are viewing this web-based meeting alone, and the remaining 30% are watching us and having 2 more people present. Thank you so much. We're going to go back to Debbie, who will continue her presentations with a discussion of guiding principles for shared leadership. Debbie?
Thank you, Tatiana. So if you've been with us throughout the project, then this will be a review for you, but I just can't overstate its importance in promoting sustainability and efficiency in decision-making groups. Of course, I'm talking about shared decision-making. There are 7 principles of shared decision-making, which are, first, the shared vision. Can you imagine trying to take a road trip in a car and everyone wants to take a different route or might even have a different destination in mind? I don't think we'd get very far. So what are some ways that we can make sure that everyone is on the same page? Excuse me. The second principle is representation. Nothing about me without me, right? It's very important for any decision-making group to have representation from everyone who is affected by the decisions being made. What are some ways that we can facilitate participation? Third, equal partners. Everyone must be treated equally. How can we make sure that everyone has a voice and is able to be heard? Collaboration. Collaborating makes it easier to share ideas, brainstorm, and avoid duplication of efforts. In order to be more productive, we have to pop that bubble. What are some tools that can make this easier? Shared responsibility. Many hands make light work. We've all heard that before, right? If everyone does his or her part, we can avoid burnout and everyone can take ownership of the results. What are some ways that we can make sure everyone has a role to play? Information sharing. Why reinvent the wheel? Sharing data, resources, and ideas allow groups to focus on planning. What are some ways to get the information to those who need it most? Producing results. Probably the best motivator for members of a group is to be able to look back and see how far they've come. Groups are constantly evaluating and monitoring their progress. What works? What doesn't work? What do we need to change? What tools do we have that can make this data retrieval more efficient? What tools do you use? You'll be able to share your answers in the next poll. Tatiana?
Thank you, Debbie. Yes, we are ready for our third polling question today. And the poll question is, what tools do you use to collaborate with the members of your group or council? Please select all that apply. Your choices are Facebook pages or Facebook groups, scheduling tools including Meeting Wizard or Doodle Poll, Dropbox, Google applications like Calendar, Google Docs, Google Forms, or Google Drive. Please select the appropriate responses and click Submit. Okay, we are now closing the poll and let me share the results with everyone. Okay. It looks like the majority of you on today's web-based meeting are utilizing Facebook pages and groups to collaborate with your members. 55% of you also are familiar with Google applications, and the rest is an even split between scheduling tools and Dropbox. And now we will continue with Karen, and she will do the presentation about tools for shared leadership. Karen is a parent group specialist in Central Region, and she's also a project coordinator on the START project at SPAN. Karen?
Okay, I need to share my screen. Oops. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. And first, we're going to talk about the different tools for shared leadership. And these tools help to organize information and resources and are really great tools to use to communicate with your group. So first of all, in order to use these tools, it's really helpful to have a Gmail account, which is very easy to set up. So I would recommend that you set up a Gmail account so that you can use these tools and people can share them with you that are in your group. So we're going to talk about Google Docs, Google Forms, Google Drive, and Google Calendar. So, okay, first of all, we're going to talk about Google Docs. And Google Docs can be used in a variety of ways, and I'm showing you here now an example of a Google Doc that I used with my co-leader in the Middletown Township Friends of Different Learners group. And as you can see, this is a document that is an agenda for an upcoming meeting. And what we would do is just create a document, we would name it, and then we could add to the document by just setting the cursor and adding anything we'd like to add to it. So both of us could work on this at the same time. So I could give like the first 3 examples, and then Stephanie can add her input afterward. And a nice thing also is that you can share this with other people as well, where they can either edit the document, or that means they can type into the document, they can comment, and I'll show you an example of that as well, where people can comment, or they can just look at the document without being able to make changes by viewing the document. And how you share these documents is by getting a link. And as you can see, you set it for where how you want to share the document. And then you can take this link and you can add it to your website. You can add it to your Facebook if you like. You can post it on your website. So you might have minutes after a meeting you want to post on your website that people can view, or you might have minutes that you want people to be able to comment on, and make it an interactive document. So, or if you only want to share with a certain person, like in example this one Stephanie and I shared just with each other, then you just send it to their email, and then only the two of you will have access to this document. Here's another example of a Google Doc that was created using an agenda and an action agenda, and you can see that different categories and indicators of success were used here, and then you can add your comments. As you can see here, I clicked, I wrote a comment, and then I hit comment, and the comments come up along the side of the document so that anyone looking at it can read the comment, and then also people can respond to my comment and people can see that as well. So if you look to the right of your screen where the handouts are, you can see that there are some cheat sheets, and they're for all of the 4 groups that we're going to talk about: the Google Docs, the Forms, the Calendar, and the Drive. So, but I find even easier than that is to go over to my applications in my Google Gmail and just go to search and just say, how do I create a Google Doc? How do I share a Google Doc? How do, it's just a great way. And then when you do click on and do the sharing, the creating like this, the how-to, you can see it's really easy to follow step-by-step directions. So I find that the easiest way when I need help with Gmail and Google Docs and other Google Forms. So again, for the Google Docs, we can create collaborative agendas and meeting minutes. We can collect input on a topics, and then again, we have the cheat sheets available for anyone that is interested in looking at them for help. Also, another great tool is the Google Forms, and the purpose is for gathering data and assessing needs. Google Forms can also be used for creating surveys and to get information from different people in your group or even outside of your group. So I'm going to show now. This is a Google form that was created for parent leaders in Monmouth County. And we wanted to know how often and just different questions we wanted to ask the group. So as you can see, there are different ways that we can ask these questions. And you can ask by check any that apply, check the boxes. We can have people fill in for something that might not be something in the boxes. They might have another suggestion. And then also you can choose to add things in a text box. So this is how you would create a form, and then this is what a form looks like that we sent out. You can choose different different headers and different colors. And then the nice thing about using these surveys and forms is you get all of your answers in a spreadsheet, so it's easy to take the information by category if you need it. You can collect emails, and then you can actually copy a whole column and email people. But then also, in case you need to share the information with someone else or do a presentation on it, it's really great how it comes out with pie charts and graphs, nice and colorful and easy to tell what the data is showing from this survey. So that's an example of the Google Forms and surveys. So we're going to take a break now and ask some questions.
Thank you, Karen. We do have two questions so far. First one comes from Cassandra, and she would like to know, do you have to work directly in Google Docs, or can you upload from Microsoft Word?
I can answer that question. You can take a Word document, and actually if someone sends it to you in Word, you can download it right into your drive. And I believe I might even be able to show an example of that. When you have an email that comes into Gmail, you have the options of either downloading it or saving it to Drive. So you can save it directly to Drive, and that will put it in a document in a Google Doc so that you could use that for sharing and have whatever you want to do with that.
Okay.
But I think I think Cassandra's asking, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. She wants to know if do you have to work on it in Drive, or can you work on it in Microsoft Word and then just save it to Drive? Karen.
You can do either one, but if you want to work collaboratively with another person, then you want to have it as a Google Doc, because otherwise they're not going to see the changes that you're making. So you'd be better off working on it together in the Drive and as a Google Doc.
Thank you.
Instead of as a Word document.
Well, Cassandra, let us know if this answers your question. And we have one more question from Deidre, who would like to know if she could receive a copy of the PowerPoint presentation from today's web-based meeting.
Yes, we will be sending that out.
And just to add to that, besides PowerPoint, you will be receiving copies of handouts that are included in today's web-based meeting. They can be downloaded right now from the handout section of your control panel. There are 4 of them, 4 Google cheat sheets for the 4 applications: Forms, Docs, Google Drive, and Google Calendar. But they will also be included in the follow-up email to today's attendees. Okay, and Donna here real quick is asking, can you email me a copy of this webinar? The link to today's webinar will also be emailed to you when it becomes available. Thank you, Donna, for asking this question again. Okay.
Back to me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Google Drive. And Google Drive is where you store and share information and resources for your council. I have to switch my screen. Okay, so here's an example of a Google Drive. And as you can see, there's folders in the Drive, and then there's some other documents. So when we want to create a folder, all we have to do is click on folder, and you can start another folder at any time. And if you want to add a document to a folder, you can just drag and drop, and this will add a file to a folder. So when you share folders, everything in that folder will be able to be seen by everyone that you share it with. And you can share folders by just right-clicking and then hitting share, and then you can share that by email, or you can share the link with different people. This is another thing that you can also share the resources that you might have by sharing the link on Facebook or on websites. And then I want to remind people too, people might send you things, so you need to check your shared with me folder. And then when you have something that someone's shared with you, you would like to put it in your Drive, so that way you can see it in your Drive every time you go there. So you can put it in your Drive, or you can actually put it right into a folder if that's easier for you. So, and then the next time you go into your Drive, you'll see that right in the folder that you've added it to. Okay, anything else on Drive that I should add? Okay. So, and again, this is a nice way to keep your collaboration folders together, things that you're working on for your group. And don't forget that whenever you put something in a folder, and you can see with the little person that these are both shared folders, that everyone that gets that folder can see everything that you're putting in there. So if there's something that you don't want to share, you might not want to put it in the folder or make another folder. Okay, and now we're going to talk about Google Calendar. And the nice thing about Google Calendar, again, this is something you can share with other people. You can use it to manage your time. For a lot of people, I know with Android phones, you can download the Google Calendar right into your phone. And I'm going to show, whoops, I'm sorry, we're not in questions yet. So here's an example of a Google Calendar. And as you can see, this is a empty FODL calendar. So this is the calendar we used for our parent group. And by creating a calendar for our group, we felt like, how can we get people to really want to have this calendar? So what we did was we put all of the school dates in. So people could add this calendar and have all of the Board of Ed meetings, the district close days, things like that, but we could also add our meeting dates so everyone would see them as well. So, and your calendar, again, you can share your calendar by sending out an invite to people. You can add other people's calendars. I added my personal work calendar here as well. So you can see that because it's not the calendar that belongs to this email, that it just shows up the busy times. So this is the way you can share. So you can create, make appointments with people and see when they're busy and see when they're not. And you can list events. When you do list events, you can put the locations that they're at so that anyone looking at that event can see more details. You can add more details as well. This is a Meet the Board of Ed Candidates night, so everyone knows. You could put your agenda for the meeting there. You can have people that are sharing the calendar add to the agenda. So there's a lot of different ways you can use these Google Calendars, but it's nice to organize, have everything in one spot so that people can access and know when your meetings are and any other information they might need to know. So I think we're back to questions now.
Yes, thank you very much, Karen. I've been monitoring our question box, and at this time I do not see any new questions. There was some feedback that was shared with us that we'll be addressing later on about the previous recordings for the webinar and the material handout that were included.
Okay, I'm letting my screen go.
Okay, next I would like you to welcome Della Walker. She is a co-chair of the Essex County Council for Young Children, and she will share with us some tips and strategies they use to implement this wonderful technology tools in their council. Della?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Della.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think we're up. All right, so I'm going to share some technology tools that we use at the Essex County Council, a lot of which Karen just spoke about. Primarily, we use Google Apps. You'll see that Google Apps will become G Suite, so for all of you who, start seeing G Suite, it's all the same. And we've had a lot of success using Google Apps within the council. And I'll share with you the success, some of our tech challenges, and the way that we're working to resolve some of the issues in implementing and using technology. Okay. Now, a lot of our success with implementing technology has really come from the commitment that we made as a council in terms of implementing technology. We know that technology can be used to promote shared leadership, efficiency, and transparency. So it was very important for us from the beginning that we take this on as a part of our mission, and just knowing that in order for us to stay connected, in order for us to be efficient, in order to truly have shared leadership, technology was really going to be one of those tools we needed to do that. Through consensus decision, our consensus decision process, we chose Google Apps as a group. So it wasn't even something that one person decided on. As a group, we committed to using this technology. When we started, our parents had varied levels of technical ability. So we felt it was important to train up our group in the skills that they needed to be successful in using Google Apps. We went a step further to our commitment and provided laptops to all the parents, which helped eliminate some of the barriers to using technology. We encourage parents without internet to secure low-cost internet service, so that not only could they have technology, but they can connect to us using Google Apps, because Google does require, using Google Apps requires an internet connection. We realized very early on in the process that introducing technology was not going to be easy, but we realized if we wanted to be a service to parents, it was going to be a crucial part of our work on the council. So some of the tech success that we've had with Google Docs, we use it to help plan meetings, we share and create agendas, and we file meeting and minute approvals there. So when we're planning our meetings, everyone has an opportunity on our leadership team to really give input in terms of agenda items, how the agenda is going to look, how much time we spend on specific issues. And it's been very empowering to parents to really be able to have a seat at that table and guide their meetings and really shape the outcomes of the meeting through what we discuss. Parents talk to each other. They know what's important. They bring those important items back to the table so that we can really flush through them and address them as a community. Meeting approval and minute approval. So before our minutes go out, we have a chance to look it over to make sure that everything that was said in the meeting is captured. And this gives us a good opportunity to be very thorough in how we present the information back to the group. We use Google Sheets to also support our vision of shared leadership. We do this by sharing data. We manage our member database through Google Sheets, and we also create work agendas. Now, our work agendas also function as plans on how the council will move forward, and because Google Sheets is interactive and updates instantaneous and more than one person can be in the document, as Karen showed you, it gives an opportunity for everyone to really chart their input and work on different projects at the same time. We've had great success with Google Forms. We actually had our election this year using Google Forms. And we felt it was important to do this because everyone's schedule, you know, sometimes we have day meetings, sometimes we have evening meetings, and we wanted everyone to be able to vote on the new officers for the council. And so we did that by Google Forms. It was very, very successful. We've also done meeting scheduling on Google Forms, so we'll have 3 potential choices for folks to choose from, and they can go in and select a date that works for them, and that's helped us really pick times where we get the most attendance for our meetings. It's very similar to a doodle. We use Google Forms in logo selection, so the logo that you see at the top of the screen was selected by the group using Google Forms. And we also have given out surveys using Google Forms as well. Now, Google Calendar is one of my favorites. Being a part of the council, I'm a working parent, and so I have to manage work, I have to manage the responsibilities of the council, as well as family, and so Google Calendar gives me a place where I can see everything. So when one of the project coordinators schedules a meeting, or if a committee schedules a meeting, everything pops into one place, and it really helps me manage my time a lot better. As a group, we've used it for meeting scheduling and to RSVP for events, so we get a good count of where or how many people are going to show up to the event so we can be better prepared. Now, Google Drive is the foundation for really building a network a tech network for shared leadership. We found that putting everything in one place allows people to come in and find things very easily. It also shows that you're transparent as an organization. We want parents to know that this is their organization and they're empowered to lead it and be a part of it. And keeping everything in one place, everyone knows where to find the document. So if we say, you know, let's pull up the minutes for this meeting and go back to them, we can do that real time, even in a meeting. If parents aren't able to attend a meeting, handouts are available in Google Drive, so it keeps everyone connected. And one of the great things that we saw as we entered our second year is that this has empowered parents to really be a part of different processes. And an example is that when we were participating in revising the discipline policies for one of the local school boards, because our parents were trained up in this technology, when it came time to give input and actually, you know, go through each of the discipline policies and make changes, parents were able to do that using Google Drive and Google Docs. So it was real-time application of all the skills that they had learned over the last year. Now, there are some tech challenges when implementing technology. What we found is that everyone does not use Gmail. And not only do they not use Gmail, but not everyone wants to embrace Gmail or Google. And so convincing volunteers to use Google can be a little bit of a challenge. And it does take some work. And so we found that through consistent implementation, it gets a little bit easier. And syncing and sharing between the organizations was also a challenge that we faced. So SPAN used Dropbox for most of their document storage, and at the council we used Google Drive. And so we saw that it was, you know, trying to get the documents from one place to another became a challenge. How the Essex County Council is resolving our tech issues for success and shared leadership. Some of the things that we've done is provide ongoing trainings and 15-minute tech sessions at our meetings to provide members with time for questions and answers. This was very helpful. We had parents who had never used a laptop before, so just having time with the tech rep with our lead agency, you know, he would come in, set them up, make sure that the laptops were set up, and give them hands-on instruction on how to use the laptops was very, very helpful. We've also assisted members in setting up Gmail and assist the members in forwarding their Gmail to their current email so it wouldn't be cumbersome, because some people, you know, they love their AOL, they love Yahoo, and they don't want to give up their email addresses. So we've explained that they don't necessarily have to give up their email address and that the Gmail could be used just for the CCYC. And what we do is we forward the Gmail to their current email, so they're only checking one email, and it makes it a lot easier for some people. And the last thing, we learned that we needed to sync our tech tools for ease and convenience. So we figured out a way to sync our Google Drive and our Dropbox using a technology called If Then Then That. And we'll probably go into that training another day. So just in concluding, we know implementing tech with volunteers is a challenge, but you keep trying until you're successful, because failure is not an option. Turning it back over for questions and answers.
Yes, thank you, Della, for your excellent presentation. We do have several questions from our attendees. One of them is sharing that she needs a lot of tech support, and do we offer a web training? It may not necessarily be a question for you, but anyone, Karen or anybody on the START project could answer that?
So this is Diane, and I've been helping oversee the training for this initiative this year. So if you're part of your county council for young children, I would encourage you touch base with your coordinator and see if they have some ability to help you, because this is, or other people on your council directly, have any ability to help you. And then if your council as a whole needs some assistance, they could reach out to the START project under this training, and we could try to see what kind of assistance you need. I think we noticed from Della that, you know, the council, both parents and the paid coordinators and the staff of the organizations all sort of jumped in and assisted bringing people up to speed on this. It was all hands on deck, and different people came with different experiences. And Della is a parent who is the co-chair, and Della brought a ton of experience to really bringing people up to speed. So I would first look locally, you know, with your county council and see what the expertise is within your group, and then reach out to the START project. You could contact your parent engagement specialist for your region, or contact me, and we'll put that information up at the end, and I'll connect you with some assistance through your county council for young children.
Thank you, Diane, for jumping in. And I do see several questions for Della. The question is, how do you manage parents who do not have computers in their home?
That's a great question. The council took on technology as a major initiative, so we actually provided laptops for most of our parents. So that was something that you know, really eliminated the barrier. But other things that we've done is encourage people to go to the local library where they have access to it. But many of these tools cannot be used. Some of the tools can't be used on a public computer just because of privacy. So they can access Google Docs and still share in them. But we really recommend, if you guys have it in your budget, to really help the parents by purchasing laptops.
So, Della, just to clarify, I believe when you started the council, the purchase of the laptops were not for general parent members, but parents who had made a commitment to be part of the steering committee as the council got going, correct?
Yes, thank you for that clarification. So we had 25 parents on our steering committee, and so the steering committee were provided laptops. The other parents who are just members of the general council, now that we've gone beyond our steering committee, we definitely encourage them to go to the local libraries where there's computers. We also provide USB flash drives for parents. And so the parents without computers, you can give them those USB flash drives so that they can save their information and and go to the library, upload, and really manage Google from there. The smartphone, I'm going to tell you, if the parent has a smartphone, all of what we've shown you today can be used on a smartphone. I'm on the road a lot for work, and I do 60% of everything from my smartphone.
Right, and also I know that your council did a lot to connect people to internet who did not have internet in their home through a couple of different programs that provide low-cost internet. And some of those same programs also help provide very low-cost computers for the home as well. So we could try to share some of that information as well.
Wonderful.
Okay, I have more questions for Della. Some of the councils work with parents who do not speak English, and they were wondering if what tools do you use, or if you use Google Translate?
We're lucky enough to have someone do a lot of our translation for us, but Google Translate is wonderful because everything is right online. So it's definitely a tool you can implement. It's free. It's easy to use. You enter your English and Spanish, so that is one of the easiest tools. But with these tools when training, it's helpful to have someone who speaks the language train them in it. And I do believe that with SPAN, we've been provided with someone upon request who can translate. I know for our parent engagement conference or our parent conference, we had someone translate for us. So when doing the trainings, it may be helpful to bring someone in who can translate the training and then go from there. But a lot of what you see is available in Spanish.
Right, and also I'll add, SPAN has done a lot around translation, and we have found that the Google Translate is a great tool, but it is not exact. It is not a person doing that translation. So if you're actually needing to translate something like for a flyer or an announcement, you might use Google Translate as the rough draft, and then you still would probably need to run that by a native speaker or someone who can do that translation and check all of that work, because you cannot count on Google Translate knowing 100% what you meant by everything.
Thank you for your answer. I do think we have one more question. One of our attendees is asking, are there any grants that would assist in purchasing laptops for parents?
Diane, I think that's a Diane question.
Well, not off the top of my head, but I think you need to be looking locally in your communities to who you can collaborate with, and some of the maybe bigger businesses that exist, because I do know that things like various banks have programs to fund very grassroots initiatives throughout the state, and they like to do things that directly impact and assist families who may be using their services. The same thing with if there's any corporations that have offices in your counties, you could look to them. So you really need to sort of get out and start looking who are the businesses, corporations, etc., that exist in your county. And even the most remote places of New Jersey still all have banks that have branches there. I mean, there's some sort of corporation you could go to. And often if you go on their website, you can start to look, do they have a separate foundation, or do they have some sort of process, to submit proposals for something they may fund.
You might want to Google that.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that too. When we were working in Lakewood, the Puerto Rican Civic Association, so there are different community groups that are assisting Spanish-speaking families that find grants. So they can be a great resource as well. They put laptops in the hands of all of their members.
Oh, neat. Yes. Yeah, I think it's really, you're not talking about huge amounts of money. You're talking about something that's a very grassroots level. So that's where the councils really need to know and do, a scan of what the resources and strengths in their county are, and then be making connections and pulling those people into the work of the county, and then letting them know what your needs are. Because to have steering committee members, let's say you have 10 parents on a steering committee, very inexpensive laptops are under $200 now. I mean, that's not a huge amount of money that you need to put together to do that. And many parents have those resources as well, so don't assume parents don't. And the other thing that Della said that I think is very, very important is really having people bring in their smartphones and helping people to at least access some of this stuff directly from their smartphone. So having them pull out their smartphones, setting some stuff up with them on their smartphones, or having a computer available to do the work and then showing them how they can get access to it then on their smartphone.
Thank you, everybody. It's great picking your brain. It's actually a perfect introduction to our next section of the presentation, sharing resources and ideas within the council and among the councils. Debbie?
Right. Thank you, Tatiana. So like Tatiana said, you've been giving us great feedback, and part of what we've done on SPAN is to create, and I'm going to share this. I hadn't actually planned to, but see if I can do this. This Google Doc, it's actually in Google. It's a place for you to share resources. So if you are able to locate a resource for who would be interested in funding laptops, or if you are interested in, or if you're able to find someone who will come in and do trainings, tech trainings for your CCYC, and they'd be willing to do those for maybe another CCYC, especially if you're in maybe the same area and you can gather in one local place and somebody will come in and do tech training for you. this is the place that you want to put that so that we can share that resource with the other CCYCs. So you can access this. This link will also be in the resources that we share, and you will have the opportunity to then share your resources with the other councils.
Debbie, can you just show real quick how you add something on there? So this is a Google Doc, like we've been covering today.
Yeah.
And we share it with you. Everybody can contribute to it. And the idea is that the best, solutions come directly from the people involved with the councils, and that to have a way to have a live document where this is being shared and updated in real time could really be of some use. So we've tried to streamline this and make it a little simpler, and are hoping that some people might jump in and be brave enough to try to add something to it. And if you click on the link that we share with you around this and you have a hard time, just reach out to one of us and we'll help you with that.
Absolutely. So we've set it up. Like she said, we streamlined it. So we have topics, broad topics, translation. These are some of the things that were expressed through our needs assessment survey and from our ongoing work with the councils as being presented as challenges that are ongoing. So we have translation, bilingual, chronic absenteeism, transportation, and we have room there to put other topics that you find are becoming ongoing challenges. So if you want to introduce excuse me, a resource, all you have to do is click on that. You can insert another row where you would insert your something to do with transportation. You can insert your challenge or your resource, I'm sorry, because this is not just for challenges, but you can share your resource here. You would be able to put your contact information and your role, whether, for example, Diane Malley, I believe, put Diane Malley START project, providing Spanish translation during meetings and training is as a challenge, and she presents her solution. And there's her contact information. So if you have any questions about what's been presented, you're able to connect with her. And all of the CCYCs are encouraged to access this document and in a way that we will be able to collaborate and share strategies to move forward.
Great, thanks, Debbie.
Okay, and going back to the presentation. So that's our document. And moving forward, we'd like to know, with everything that we've heard so far, how likely are you to use these tech tools on the council? Tatiana?
Yes, we are moving forward with our fourth and final polling question. How likely are you to use the following tech tools on your council? Please select one. Your options include definitely will use the tech tools, probably will not, and definitely will not. Please select the appropriate response and click submit. Okay, 55% of you have responded. I will give it a few more minutes or moments before I close the poll. Please respond to the question. Okay, I am closing the poll and will share the results with everyone. Share. Okay, the majority of you, 64%, responded that they will probably use the discussed tech tools on their council moving forward, and 36% definitely will use those tools. Thank you very much for participating in our polling questions. We will now get back to our presentation, and Debbie will discuss some of the resources that we have available for you on our website. Debbie?
All right, great, thank you. So I saw that, and when we were doing the question section, some of you were asking about some of the past webinars that we've had. We did complete our Serving on Groups webinar series, Serving on Groups That Make Decisions, where we had just a wealth of information, logistical and otherwise, that will facilitate your effective participation on the council. So those resources are in the process of being uploaded to the SPAN website from the start page. If you go to the SPAN website and you click on the start page, you can access them, or you can click on the website that you see or the URL that you see on the screen, which you will have once we provide you with the PowerPoint. So these resources are, as I said, in the process of being uploaded. Right now, I believe you're able to access the first and second webinar recordings and PowerPoints, along with the resources from the first PowerPoint. That is an ongoing process, hopefully within the next week or so. All of the recordings, well, within the next few days, all of the recordings and PowerPoints will be available, and after that, we will be gradually adding the other resources. What's next? Start project upcoming events. We are doing our quarterly roundtables. If you go to our special education parent leadership roundtables, if you click on the URL or go to the start page and click on upcoming events, you will have an opportunity to register for the roundtables that are in your county, or that you are able to, that are convenient for you by date or location, whichever one will make it more accessible for you. Our Partners in Education Transition Mini Conference is also coming up. And again, you can access the registration information on the SPAN website, from the SPAN website. So I would encourage you to go to the website to access these trainings. They're always free, and you gain a wealth of information from them. Other SPAN resources are the CCYC tools and strategies, Google Sheet that we just went over. You can access that, the serving on groups, upcoming events, and other tools and resources and events through our Parent Leadership Development Training Initiative. All this can be accessed from the Statewide Parent Advocacy Network website. Tatiana, do you see any last questions or final questions?
I do not see any questions at this time. I do have several comments from our participants today who have expressed a great interest in attending future trainings around tech tools. And as was stated before, we're in the planning stages for the year or two of this grant, and we'll take everybody's comments into consideration when planning events for the next year, and look for the announcements.
All right.
Thank you, Debbie.
Great, thank you. And if there are no further questions or comments, Diane, I believe you get the final say.
So thank you very, very much. So it has been a very busy year in designing, interacting, and implementing all the various trainings we've done. And I want to thank the whole team who are listed here. And again, if you have specific questions or needs from today's presentation, or need to be pointed in the direction of some further training, you can reach out to any of us. My phone number's on there, and then each of our emails are there. So we're not leaving you hanging after this introduction today. But I also then really want to thank Debbie and Tatiana for pulling this meeting together today. I think they did a great job, and I really have a huge thanks and appreciation to Karen Antone and Della Walker, who were our presenters today. Della, I just think what you've been able to achieve with the Essex County Council in terms of shared leadership and shared decision making, and really having parents be the drivers and the leaders of the council is phenomenal. So I really thank you for sharing those experiences with us today. Now, as was stated earlier, we are very, very thankful and honored to have received a second year to be able to continue to provide ongoing training, technical assistance, and support to the county councils for young children throughout the state. So we are currently putting together what those activities will consist of for the upcoming year, but there's no break in the action, so feel free to contact any of us, and we'll sort of keep this work rolling and continue to really tool up and empower parents to be really active members and leaders in the county councils for young children, and really be working to improve the lives for all families with young children throughout the state. So thank you to everybody for the opportunity to work with you this year, and we look forward to continuing all of this great work. So have a great day, and thanks everyone.